morning, virtual Tramily. Hope you guys are doing well. I am in New Jersey and I'm on these boardwalks. This is a pretty neat section of trail. I think if I remember correctly, it's over a mile of these boardwalks that you walk through. It's through this, it's kind of a marsh type area, but there's tons of birds. And it's been raining. It rained all night last night, so I'm glad that it's kind of cleared up a little bit so that the birds can come out and you can see them. But pretty cool section of trail, and I just wanted to give a quick update. I should be crossing into New York, officially New York, because we kind of weave in and out of New Jersey and New York a little bit throughout this section, but I'll be completely in New York by this afternoon. That's the plan, but I will be getting to a town in about a little less than 2 miles called Vernon, New Jersey. I will resupply for about 4 days worth of food and keep on going. But we're gonna get quite a bit of rain that looks like in the forecast coming this direction, but I'm as ready as I can be for it. So but you know, I do want to mention one thing real quick. So I got to a shelter last night because it was supposed to rain all night last night, which it did. And I thought, well, if there's nobody in the shelter, then I'll stay in there. But when I got there, there was somebody already in there, and this I find really rude. So don't be this person. He had his tent set up in the shelter, taking the whole place. Now, I wasn't going to stay in the shelter anyway if there was somebody in there, but you know, to do that I think is really rude. I didn't say anything or do anything. He wasn't even out. He looked like he was in his tent. So, but don't do that. Don't put up your tent inside of a shelter, especially on a rainy day with bad weather. You never know who's going to show up. And it wasn't even that late. I think it was around 6:30 that I showed up. So yeah, don't do that. Not cool. But yep, things are going pretty good, and you can hear all the birds singing. I love that. So it's nice to just walk along and enjoy nature, which I've been doing a lot lately. So yeah, things have been going pretty good, and happy to be done with a lot of the rocks of Pennsylvania. New Jersey does have rocks, of course, and the rest of the trail does too, but nothing compared to Pennsylvania, so that's nice to be through that section. And but yeah, I will check in more later, guys. See you later. everyone. Hope you're having a good day. I'm still in New York, and getting through this section, things have been going pretty good. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about this area. It is a park, and they have had quite a bit of bear activity in this area for quite a few miles. So there was a shelter behind me that I was going to stay at or near last night, but they closed the shelter because they've had so many bear encounters with people leaving. That's why it's so important when you're camping, section hiking, through hiking, whatever, day hiking. It's really important to be sure that you're very careful with your food, because it attracts bears, it attracts animals, and that's really detrimental for the bears. If bears become aggressive, more than not, they have to get put down. So very important to be cautious with your food and not leave any trash, not leave any food. It's amazing how many people do that. And so whenever I have the opportunity, I do pack out trash that I do find. I'll be at a garbage can in a few hours today before I get to the zoo, and I'll throw away my trash and some other trash I've found. But because there's so much bear activity, they get used to humans, and they're not afraid. I've had somebody call them like they're big raccoons, so I agree with that statement. But yeah, so we have to be careful around here. I have been staying a lot lately at unofficial campsites, just because I prefer to hike until I kind of get tired, and then I just stop for the day. So lately it has not been near a shelter, and so that was the case last night as well. But that shelter was closed anyway, so I didn't want to stay there and attract more bear activity there. So yeah, I'm always very cautious with my food when I camp, but even more so lately, being in a known area where there is a lot of bear activity and sightings. So they're not aggressive. Please keep in mind, these are black bears. So unless you encounter a bear with her cubs, that kind of bear in that situation can get very aggressive. But if it's just a regular bear sighting or bear that you see, usually more times than not, these black bears are more afraid of you than you are of them. And they run away. I have not seen a bear yet on this through hike. I did in 2018, and it was in New Jersey, but so far I haven't seen anything this year. But I keep my eye out. I hope to eventually. But yeah, so that's kind of important to be careful with your food, and not more importantly, don't leave any trash out. Don't leave anything that can attract wild animals. The animals need to stay wild, and when they become familiar and comfortable with humans, that's dangerous to them, because if they do get more comfortable and do become aggressive, then sometimes they have to get put down, and that's not cool at all. So just keep all that in mind. But getting through this New York section, it's a real pretty section, and I will be at the New York Zoo pretty soon, in a few hours. It's a pretty cool zoo that is right along the trail. The AT goes right through it for 1/4 of a mile, and it won't be open by the time I get there, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to miss it. But the zoo is right before we get to walk over the Hudson River, so I will be doing that in about 12 miles today. Looking forward to that. And yeah, that's what's going on. Hope you guys are all doing well, and I will check in more later. See you guys.